Hooray! Wow, hi world. I have no idea who's watching and who's following. Um, so yeah, I will look forward to hearing some feedback from anybody who did join me. Couple of things. Put an alarm. It's going to make a horrible sound after 40 minutes. I'll probably try and improve that system maybe in the future. I am doing. As in, I'm doing this, I'm doing that, I'm doing this, now I'm doing that, I'm sensing this, blah, blah, blah. So that hopefully you won't have to actually watch too much. You can just follow, if you can hear me properly, then you can follow my kind of audio guide. And then only if you don't understand what I'm saying or you think Rosamond says it should feel nice and easy, but it doesn't, then you can have a look at what I'm doing and reference the video and maybe kind of pick up more about what I'm doing. So I'm just going to talk through what I'm doing as I'm doing it. Okay, thank you. So I'm going to start by lying on the ground with my feet in the sunshine. I'm just lying down. That means you can join me and also lie down. So I'm lying down and I'm starting with a scan. Notice what I can sense. I'm trying to release any tension that I don't need. I'm paying attention to let my belly be soft. I've got my eyes closed. My arms and legs are long on the ground. I'm trying to release my jaw. So after I've been lying here for a while, I start to settle into the ground and I just feel the need to slightly shift. And then that enables me to relax a little bit more. I'm noticing now my contact with the ground. And then I'm doing a small movement of rolling my head side to side. I'm doing this just as a test, not to mobilize my neck yet, but just to observe what's it like to roll my head. I'm trying the same thing with my eyes open and with my eyes closed. I'm bringing my feet up to standing, one leg at a time, so that my feet are flat on the floor. And then I'm taking my arms overhead and I'm just stretching through my hands and taking my knees side to side, having a little stretch through the body. And then I'm taking both arms and legs up into the air. And my arms and legs aren't straight and they're not completely bent, but they're just longish. And I'm starting to use my arms and legs to help me tip a little to one side and then a little to the other side. And I'm keeping it as small as I'm finding it easier to start with both arms and legs long and then to roll a little bit to my left as my left elbow and knee bend down towards the ground on my left, softening me as I roll a little to the left. And then they reach up towards the ceiling and then I allow my right elbow and knee to come down to my jaw. I'm going a little bit faster. I'm just trying to listen to what might make it easier for myself. I'm doing a little rock across the back of my body, trying to use my arms and legs, bending and lengthening towards the ceiling to help me rock on the ground. Letting my head roll, letting my jaw relax. And then I'm just resting my feet down onto the floor and my arms back down. I'm letting my knees go off to the right, gently twisting my pelvis and my spine. And then I'm pressing my pelvis into the ground so that my knees can return. And I'm taking my knees over to the left, slowly. Just waiting and relaxing. And then pressing my pelvis back into the ground to return my feet to standing. I'm continuing to take my knees from one side to the other, slowly, just letting that send a little bit of a stretch through my body. When I take my knees one way, I feel a stretch up one side of my body, and I go into that stretch. When I take my knees the other way, I feel a stretch up the other side of my body, and I just go into that stretch as well. I take it slowly, I do what I want with my arms. And then I develop the knees going side to side. And I'm taking my hand, my arm reaches across my belly, my second side. My feet come to the floor to standing, and my arm drags across my belly to roll me onto one side. I roll back onto my back with my feet standing on the floor. I use my other arm to roll. Rolling side to side. And as I roll, I keep going. I only for myself, letting my hands go where they want, letting my feet go where they want, so neck and jaw. Checking in with myself as to whether I am comfortable, whether I could do less, make it more pleasurable for myself somehow. And just have a little stretch. Lengthening through the body, stretching my arms and legs away from my center, along the ground, having a little wriggle. And then I bring my feet back to standing and my arms back over my belly. And I continue to roll side to side. As I'm rolling side to side, I'm trying to visualize my skeleton, the bony pelvis. I'm making the rolling side to side as soft and lazy as possible. Sometimes my eyes are open, sometimes they're closed. And I'm feeling my ribs against the ground. Release and release and release. And then I come to have another rest. I just register for myself how I'm feeling now. My contact with the ground. How easy it is or not to just let go. And then I roll my head side to side again to see what that feels like. And then I roll to lie on my side. So I'm lying around to just slide it forwards and slide it back. And trying to keep my arm heavy against the ground. My underneath arm is just lying on the ground somewhere in front of me. My head is just flopped down onto the ground, heavy. And I'm sliding my hand forwards and back. I'm trying to release my neck so that my neck isn't making any effort. And as I slide my hands forwards and back, slide my top hand forward and back, my head is just getting passively rolled on the floor. Shoulder girdle is rolling. My ribs are rolling on the floor. I'm trying to keep my legs as relaxed as possible. I'm making sure that my knees are bent up in front of me and heavy, just dead weight. And then I take a rest, lying on my side. As I rest lying in this, and then I come back to taking the arm forwards and backwards, sliding a heavy hand forwards and backwards on the floor, letting my head roll passively, and gradually making the movement bigger so that I start to twist open, taking my hand across my chest and sliding it forwards again. I only do the movement that's comfortable. Sometimes it's big, sometimes it's small, sometimes it's smaller and faster and rocking, little rocking forwards and backwards. So I can feel the underneath side of my ribs rolling against the ground as I rock forwards and backwards with my top hand sliding forwards and backwards along the ground. And sometimes I do a much bigger movement, and I just play with that movement, feeling my ribs against the ground, and my belly soft and my jaw soft, my top hand forwards and backwards, and rolling the underneath side of my ribs on the floor. Any development from that is just playing. Maybe the arm and leg come swimming through the air. I notice whether I'm feeling more expansive or more tense. If I'm feeling more expansive, that means I've been doing an appropriate size of movement for my body, an appropriate quality of movement. If I feel more rolling, to lie on my other side. I've got the yawns. Because I was nervous about doing live stream, so then my breath got tight and now I'm yawning. So I start on the second side, sliding my left hand. Oops, that's a mistake. Sliding my top. I could start even smaller. I start even smaller. I'm in a little bit of a kind of loose fetus play. I start slowly, slowly, slowly. I try to release my jaw, my neck. I find that sliding my hand forwards helps me relax. I can feel my ribs twisting. And then as I slide my hands back, my top hand back, there's a little bit more resistance. I just need to go slowly. I start to make the movement bigger. And to start with, I keep my hand in contact with my own body all the time, so that my top hand drags across my chest, rolling my chest open towards the ceiling. rolling the back underside of my body against the ground. My ribs rolling, and I vary the size of the movement and the speed of the movement according to what feels good. And then I start to stretch out the arm behind me. And then unravel and reverse it again. Sides. I roll my head. I yawn. I wriggle my legs. I feel my ribs twisting. Letting my legs get involved. Letting my arm go through the air. I'm looking to arm goes back. My arm goes forwards as my leg goes back. My leg reaches forwards as my arm goes back. And then I've had enough and I rest. And I roll to lie on my back again. Feels like now. And then I stop that. I just listen to my contact with the floor and scan my own body, what I can sense in my own body. And then I roll to my side. And I come into a side sitting position. What happens to my pelvis? I try to become almost where my hands can reach to. I slide my hands around my body, around my feet, around this constraint that I have created with the legs. And I just kind of chill out. And I look around me. And I see where else my hands can go off the floor. So I start to reach my hands up into the air, maybe one, maybe the other. I let my space around me have some effect on my pelvis. So I'm connecting the upper and the lower parts of my body, and I'm not leaving one part of my body stuck while the other half of my body struggles. So I'm just adapting. And then from this side sitting position, I start to shift the weight around, and I can come forwards and backwards. I can twist, let my legs move. Everything I do it from this position. This is my starting position. And then I just look around and see what's possible. If I move my knees, move my feet and cheat and come back to that position again. I'm just rolling around and exploring what's possible. The way I put my legs, which side did I choose to start with? Further away from me, still just according to my own comfort. How far away can my hands reach? And in what different directions? With my feet still in this position on the floor, with my legs still more or less in that position on the floor. And I realized I could easily knock over my water glass, so I just pay attention to that. And then I take a little rest, just sitting, and I know which side I've done. I'm going to go back to that side, and I just rest. And then I come back to the same side and creating a little space for myself. So that now I can start to go over my front leg sliding my hands forwards, my elbows come towards the ground, and I can start to stretch my back leg out behind me. And I only do that as far as it's comfortable. And I can reach my hands forwards and look forwards and start to stretch my back leg back. And I wriggle my pelvis around. And I can move my hands. So now I have my front knee bent and my back leg long. And I'm still trying to treat it playfully and lightly. So I can just look around. And then I take a full rest lying down. And notice how my hips are feeling now. And notice if my two legs feel different. And then I roll via my side and I come up to sitting again. Second side. I call it the second side. And I just make myself comfortable there. There's one lower leg is horizontal in front of me. The other heel is somewhere near my bottom. Somewhere there. And then I start to just explore this second side. Noticing what happens with my pelvis. Seeing where can my hands go on the floor. And again, I'm trying to almost connect to this kind of animal. I start to reach my arms up into the air, still listening to my pelvis while I different from the other. I allow it to develop anywhere I want it to go. I'm lifting my pelvis away from the floor. All the time my pelvis is responsive. All the time my ribs are soft. My arms are out to my legs. And I can roll and start to explore shifting the weight. Suddenly much more grounded through my sitting bones this time that I'm sitting. And I come back and continue on that same side where my pelvis wants to go. And I just try to shift my weight, shift my center of gravity. My second leg. So that again, I have one leg bent in front of me. And I only do what feels okay, what feels comfortable. When I feel it needs to be, I rest again. I rest lying on my back. I notice how easy it is now to just let go. I bring my feet to standing, sensing my contact to the back of the body with the floor. I feel very mobile and alive through the center, so I'm adding in some very lazy twisting abdominals. So I'm bringing one hand to the opposite knee. My head is up, I'm in a little curl up. I'm pulling myself towards that knee, and then I'm twisting, and I'm just being a little bit of an amoeba, trying to reach one hand to the other knee, a kind of lazy twist, a little bit faster. I go a little bit lower. All it is a twisting one way, twisting the other way. I'm just making it a little bit more fluid. From my toes to my belly button. I'm definitely feeling my tummy working hard. I'm just trying to go with it and play a little bit longer. But it's just muscle work, so it's okay. Not painful, it's just hard work. I'm twisting and twisting and twisting, and then I release and just relax again. Noticing my contact with the floor. I turned off the alarm, so I'm aware of the time, just FYI. And I'm just finishing rolling over onto my belly. And like a baby, letting my belly out, just opening up the muscles I just used. Letting my jaw open, wriggling around, supporting myself on the floor with my knees, my elbows, my hands, twisting. Again, just only doing what's possible, what feels nice, making it as big or small as I want it to be. The shoulders, the ribs, the pelvis, just following curious eyes. How much more spread out my soles of the feet feel. Just noticing a sort of soft sense of stability. And then I'm going to just take a little walk around. And as I'm walking, I'm just having this little transition. So for me, I'll transition out of talking about myself and start talking to you again. Anybody who's watching, that might be enough. You could just walk and practice having your attention inside your own body at the same time as seeing what's around you. This little transition moment. Come back and do some more sit-ups or something. Okay, thanks everybody. Maybe see you tomorrow. Are you sure you want to end your stream?